Todd, what did the motorcycle say about the past year?
I don't know.
It had its ups and downs, but we're still in gear. Our goal at Best Motorcycle Roads is to make your next motorcycle trip the best it can be. Well, the bottom line, Todd, on this kind of year in review for 2024 is we had 2 nice rides, 2 day rides, and 1 big ride.
One big ride.
So it kind of started off in April on an unfortunate waylay for you, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So we had planned, let's see, the Eclipse ride that we did a few years back, there was another Eclipse coming, so we were like, got to get to it. It was kind of dicey at first, planning it, because it was in April.
Yeah,
So
it was early.
And we could have met it a little further north if we would have went due west, like into Indiana, but with April, it's like, we got to be careful. So we kind of chose to head south. So basically just due south of Iowa City all the way down to the Missouri-Arkansas border, right? To Donovan, Missouri is where we ended up going. And wow. And this happened to be a pretty long eclipse. So that was kind of exciting and fun, I guess. We ended up going to this town where it was a ton of people there. I mean, I picked a town where I thought maybe there wouldn't be anybody. I mean, there was probably 3,000 people, maybe more, 5,000 people. But we ended up parking in a church parking lot and watching it there.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of looking for some place to fly the drone and do some things. But it was long and wild. I mean, you would experience the full eclipse. But what I would say about that is if you ever get a chance to see the full eclipse, you really got to try to figure out how to get there. And then the second thing I would say is don't try to go on the main roads to get out of there. That was horrible. Afterwards, we really got tied up on these main roads. And the funny part is if we'd have went back to the motorcycle roads, we'd have had a great ride and we had not gotten like literally just stop and go.
Yeah.
So, and Google Maps, when there's that much traffic, is BS. So don't even pay attention because it was like, oh, take a left. There's a new faster way. Yeah, it just saved us 2 minutes, like.
Because everybody made that same turn, right?
Well, you could see that happening too. Like people were taking the turn, then it said go back the other way. And it's like, But we really should have just went left when the others went right, and that would have been better.
Yeah,
we'd have been better going south 400 miles than we would have there. So, but it was a great way to start the year. I mean, I think from the ride standpoint, that it was really fun. So,
and it was super cold the day you left. I mean, it was
raining and cold.
It was raining and cold. Yeah,
and of course in my fashion, I didn't put the gear on until it was full boat raining. But
until you were totally soaked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no, but it was fun. And the next day though, or even the rest of that afternoon, it got warmed up. Sun came out and things got better. So that was kind of a couple 4-day ride. In May, Turk and I just ran a day ride up to the Slimy Crud Run, which you haven't been yet.
Still haven't been up there.
We definitely got to do that. So Slimy Crud Run is a run that goes from Pine Bluff, Wisconsin to Leland, Wisconsin. It's always the first Sunday and the first the first Sunday of May, first Sunday of October. And it's just a funky thing. These guys that used to write articles for motorcycle magazines back in the 70s just started doing their group ride. Just for them. We're just riding from Pine Bluff to Leland just for fun. And then it just kept growing. No sponsors, no ads. No one even really talks about it. There's a Facebook page that I think is defunct and a website page that all they do is keep the dates up to date. But it's just the wildest thing, and you really do have to go to it because there's anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 bikes there. Every bike, vintage, classics, new bikes, three-wheelers,
cafe
everything.
Racers.
You pick it, like, self-creations, Frankenstein bikes. But my quote on that is you'll see one of every bike you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, almost to religiously, like from small Rupp mini bikes to Harleys, every version of Harley, every version of every bike. If you just want to see the bike that you think you might want, go there because it's going to be there. And Wisconsin's known for adventure riding bikes. So, I mean, it's just literally everything.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's just wild. And everyone's just really cool. Everybody hangs out. There's no garbage. And then when you get to Leland, you can get a salami and cheese sandwich. And that's the thing you do. So, like, I don't know. It's wild. I mean, Leland's now, unfortunately, almost become an unincorporated place. And I think the only time it's even has more than 10 people in it is the first and Sunday of May and first Sunday of
Yeah.
October.
And they pick those dates because it's kind of the bookends in the
It's the-
Midwest for
Yeah,
motorcycle season.
More or less. Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think there's a rhyme or reason, but yep. I mean, that's just what it became. And
Yeah, they kind of call it the start of the season and the end of the season.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been when it's hot. I've been when it's cold on all those. So like, I've probably been 4 or 5 times, and it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
We'll have to definitely get there.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're anywhere near, even if I wouldn't say drive a car there, but like, man, it's just cool. And there's just bikes and bikes. And they kind of like we talked about in the last episode about scatter shotgun. There's no rules. There's no time to be there. There's no time to leave. But yeah, it's just, it's fun. It's cool. It's just something so unique in the motorcycling world. So.
Yeah.
And then I guess in May also, we went on a Northeast Iowa ride.
Yeah, yeah. And I think our goal on that ride, really, we wanted to try and find, at least in the Iowa side, where the Great River Road was going to start, because we've seen some signs, right?
So many times, I think you went to Decorah to Luther College.
Yep.
My son went to Luther College, and we'd drive up there, and the way that I was always going was, I can't remember what road it even is, but El Dorado, Iowa. When you're driving through that, you come down this huge like hill, and it comes into this flat, no cell service whatsoever. And you go through El Dorado, and then just on the north side of El Dorado, it's the Great River Road on a sign, just on a street sign. And I always said, I want to start there and see where this thing goes. So
Yeah.
that's basically what we did.
What we we were just going to make this a one-day ride, and
Yeah.
just for however long it was going to take us. And so we kind of headed up there towards Central City, and then
Yeah.
made our way across, and found that road, got started on it, and then
Like, no kidding, it was 5 miles, I think.
5 miles in, the bridge was out.
Yeah.
Like detour, or I don't remember if there was a detour
Well,
sign. It was just bridge was out, right?
Well, yeah, we couldn't go on a portion that we really wanted to go to because the
Yeah.
bridge was out. So we ended up not going by it.
Yeah.
But we ended up getting back to it. I mean, we found our way around. and got
Eventually,
back to
yeah.
it, but-
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a buzzkill. But for me, the highlight of that was coming. We went, then, that kind of ends you up in Dubuque, up by Balltown. And for me, the highlight was Highway 3, which I did not realize ran from coast to coast.
Coast
Out
to
of,
coast of
Iowa.
thank you.
Is there somewhere else? No, I'm just kidding. Out of Dubuque, heading west out of Dubuque is a cool road. Like, and it's kind of like, you're in town, and then pretty soon you're like just out of town
Yeah.
like that. That first, I don't know, probably we're at 30 miles, maybe you say. That was cool.
Oh, beautiful road
And
too.
just-
like well kept. I mean,
Yes.
it was concrete from what I remember.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was nice.
Yeah, it was super nice road,
But just curvy.
and elevations and stuff
Yeah.
to see, and no, it was
neat.
It was really great. It was like I had no idea it was there, and like this new discovery of road I want to ride more of.
Yeah, for sure. And then late July, early August, Turk and I went on the mega ride.
Yeah.
We rode out to Seattle and back, so that was quite a ride.
How many miles in one direction?
Well, it was just about a little over 2,000 miles each direction.
Wow.
So we ended up clocking 5,600 miles in 12 days, I think is what it is, 11 or 12 days. So we rode out to Seattle through the Black Hills, South Dakota way. And then when we came back, we actually came through, I mean, you go to Montana both ways, but we came through Montana and went through North Dakota because Turk had never been in North Dakota. So we rode back that way. And so it was awesome. And probably the highlight, I would say, and there's tons of them, but like Olympic Island out in Seattle. My mind, I thought Seattle was just on the Pacific coast, and it's not. I mean, it's 200 miles inland, 150 miles inland. There's a bay, there's a big bay. So Seattle itself is on a bay of the Pacific, but you go way out there to Olympic Island, and it's unbelievable. So Olympic mountain ranges out there, and that is basic. All this I didn't know until we went out there, is more or less a rainforest that's in the U.S. I didn't even know that until we started doing the research and kind of figuring that out.
Yeah.
And so there's no roads in that. There's roads to get there, but then like people go out there and camp, but it's walk in and walk out kind of stuff. So it is neat. You have to get out there, even if you're in a car or whatever. Just get out there because, and it's kind of fun too because you can go all the way down to Tacoma and come up and drive out there, but you can also take a ferry. So we took a ferry a few times too, which was really fun. It's just it's a really short ferry ride.
Okay.
But that was fun. They let motorcycles go on first, like some of the ferries we've been on, but you drive all the way up front, and then you're the first ones off.
Nice.
So like it is the way to travel on that ferry too, is by bike, because otherwise there's a lot of cars on there. I mean, it's neat. There's tons of vehicles. So we had a really good time. Met, talked, chatted with the other motorcyclists there. One guy I met rode his moped from Seattle all the way down the tail of the Dragon.
Oh wow.
And we're talking like it was like a 50cc moped.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I still got to get a hold of that guy again and tell his story. But yeah,
there's plenty of groups that do that.
Yeah,
There's
it's
a lot of people that do that.
thing.
It is
Definitely a thing.
Yeah. It looks like fun. I'd like to try that sometime.
Have you rode one of those very much?
Never.
Yeah.
So I
We
shouldn't
might
speak
just
too
start for a
soon.
group ride to Iowa City first and see how it
Okay,
goes. Because
all right.
let's just put it this way: I've never seen a Russell Daylong on a moped. But
Good point.
you'll be extracting the seat from your backside before it gets very long.
All right.
I've got a scooter-ish, a Honda Silverwing, and I don't have the stock seat on it, so that could be part of the problem. But like Cedar Rapids and back is a lot.
No kidding. All right.
Yeah, and it goes 100 miles an hour. So
Wow.
when you're, we'll talk about that later. I think I said the coolest thing I saw was Olympic Island, but I think that's where I went on a rant and really, literally threw my gear away when we got back because it was so bad.
Yeah.
And that's when we kind of went over to Bohn gear. And I think there's two things. I mean, like for day rides, I think you'll need a little bit of gear. And Bohn has some gear for like just throwing it on and wearing it, protection, just riding around, local day ride kind of stuff. But boy, this is a game changer. I've used it one time, and it's more or less like think long underwear with armor, and then you just put over the top whatever you want. It's so great. Like I know you got some.
Just got
We're
it.
gonna try
Still
it.
in the package. I
Yeah.
can't wait to try it.
Well, maybe we can do the Slimy Crud Run, and you can wear it. But
Perfect.
it's just great. It's so comfortable. It's just I can't say enough about it. Check it out on the website and give them a call. Kristen over there is amazing. So yeah. So that takes us to about Labor Day. So that was our other kind of multi-day trip. Labor Day, we went back to the UP. Now we've been to the UP. This is probably maybe the 5th time I would say.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of did our classics. Went up the north side of Lake Michigan, Manistee, Muskegon, that area. Went across the Mackinac Bridge, and that's where we kind of changed it up a little bit. Instead of cutting back and hitting Lake Michigan it'd be the eastern side of Lake Michigan. We went over to Huron, which we hadn't done before. So that was kind of a new twist on it. And that, very similar looking rides, of course. There was nothing super earth shattering about it, but it was neat just to see a little different area. We rode into some new cities and found some new things, and I think my reflection on that is like some of these Midwest areas are really just continue to shrink, and you really have to be kind of careful in some of these areas. There's just not a lot going on in them. So, I mean, you can make it work, but like even sometimes eating and the first night's hotel in Escanaba, we probably could have chose something a little better. It was a little bit rough on that Super 8, but in general, it was nice and fun, and we had a good time. And then came back through Tunnel of Trees and back over Mackinac, and just great, classic roads. Some of those are on our best roads of each state. So one thing we didn't get to do is there is that Hell, Michigan, that's quite a bit further south, closer to Detroit. We didn't quite get down there, so maybe a trip for another time. But the other thing I would say is like I said, this is probably the 5th time being in the UP, and we just learned and saw so many new things that you don't always see every time. So I just think sometimes that's the magic of going back. To many places.
It really is.
You forget about some of the things you see. You remember some of the things that you did remember, and I don't know. It's just kind of a neat, I guess, just getting old.
Is there anything specific that sticks out to you? That
I mean, it was just fun to go back to some of the pasty shops. But even just like riding some of the roads, there's a couple bridges that you just, oh man, I remember riding this before. When we go across Mackinac Bridge, we always stop in the same place, take the same picture. So we have like 3 or 4 pictures from this little spot. And I don't know, it's just neat to do that. And now we have I think we have 3 or 4 pictures from that same spot. And I don't know, I know, it's the kind of the recreation of your childhood photos, like we did one of those. And the first time we rode that would have been I think 07 or 08 was the first time we did. And that's been a few years ago. You know,
Yeah.
you look a little different, a few more gray hairs now. But no, Brad and I, you know, retook a picture, and I don't know, it's just fun. I think that trip was one of the ones where I rode like a standard. It was like a FC 1000, and like, you know, the difference of riding that bike and this Goldwing that I had this time is like night and day.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, things change, you change, the bikes change, we can afford a little bit more. I was wearing jeans, and I think I had everything packed into like a Nike duffel bag,
Oh,
like
man,
zip
yeah.
tied onto the back. I mean, just, I don't know, that's the things you kind of refresh and remember. You
Yeah.
know, there's some restaurants that we've stayed and went and gone to, and those have changed and not changed. Some of them closed, some of them are not. That's kind of what I'm thinking, I guess. The Tunnel of Trees is cool every time. It kind of amazes me, like almost every time we've rode it. So just things like that, I think. Felt like I had to make more restroom breaks this time than last time. Just things like that. So, yeah. And then I guess pretty much our last one was a day ride, too, in October. I call it the leaf ride. I think we tried to.
Yeah, we
We
out
ended
a
up in the
little.
brownout.
Yeah, we were out a little too early before the leaves really change colors.
Yeah.
It's hard to predict and hard to plan.
Yeah.
But we kind of said, okay, within this 2 weeks, that's when the colors should change. Well, they were starting to change, but
They were.
It wasn't significant like we were hoping, you know, the fire colors. But I think that one of the coolest things we did was we rode the Grant Wood Scenic Byway.
Yeah.
And hadn't
Grant
done
Wood's
that.
kind of a Iowa thing, right? I mean, like an Iowa
Yeah.
artist that has a lot of history.
A lot of
All
history.
over the state, really.
Yeah,
I mean-
and best known for the American Gothic painting.
Correct.
You
Which
know,
is the old dude in his
pitchfork, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Wife stand next to him, barn in the background, and so yeah, he lived here, he taught here. You know, he had an art studio, and they kind of created this scenic byway. You know,
It's like the
through
Iowa
some-
historical, you know, travel Iowa
Yeah.
people. But it's kind of neat.
It really is, and it's not anything you can Google. You can't really. Well, you could Google it, but you can't find it on a Google map.
Right.
It won't show you that ride. So you need to get to where it is, and then you actually just follow the signs along the road, and they're, you know, small signs that say, you know, you're on the Grant Wood Scenic Byway,
Yeah.
and sometimes you get to some intersections, and you kind of have to look ahead. Where does it go?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
was fun.
It was neat. It's a nice road.
And you guys have stayed in the hotel, one of the hotels that's on that, which is kind of cool.
Yes, and I now I'm
Blanking at the name.
Makokata.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
in Makokata.
I can't think of the name of the hotel. Thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it's
But
a
it's
historic
cool.
hotel that's
Yeah.
that's kind of remained, you know, with the same decorations in the woodwork and the carpeting and the front desk is all the same in the front of the hotel, and you know it's still open. They've done some restorations, but
We just hope that some of these things can stick around. I mean, you know, I don't know. This is us getting old again, I think, a little bit. But, like, you don't want to forget about all these things that have been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's just some neat things to see in all states, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, but
yeah,
that was a fun ride. Easy day ride.
Yep.
Few 100 miles. And
a couple 100 miles, and
Yeah.
met a friend for lunch in
Yeah.
Anamosa at the end of the day, and yeah,
that was cool.
it was nice.
So I guess just like this is kind of our ride reflection for the year. I mean, like what are you thinking for next year? I mean, after talking about the Slimy Crud Run, I think I myself and I think maybe Mark have only been there. So I think between the two dates, I'd like to see if most of our people can get to that.
Yeah,
because,
I would definitely like to get to the May ride for
yeah,
sure.
I think that should be a goal.
Yep.
A buddy of mine that's getting a little older wants to ride the Tail of the Dragon this year,
Oh,
and then he's going to sell his big bike.
no kidding.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of
All
his
right.
final big trip. So sometime I'm thinking we talked about going like, even if we left like Labor Day time
Mm-hmm.
and then go after, like let school get in. Mm-hmm. So I think we're talking about maybe a 7-8 day ride, which I think that would be interesting, especially if everyone could plan it out, because we've never rode. It was the most we've ever been down there is 5 days, I think.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Yep.
always rushed. And I know that he has a niece that's at, I think, North Carolina, and he wants to stop and see her. So I think
The Carolinas are a place that we definitely need to ride.
You're right. And then
Yeah.
my buddy Mike has that cabin. I'd like to go back and see the tobacco place again.
See what he's
But so
updated.
that's another one. We've got other things on the kind of in our wish list, but there's a guy, Cruise Man, that's down in Dallas.
Dallas, yeah.
And I'd like to ride. We mapped out a really cool ride. Basically, rides the southern Missouri like border. And so not everyone might be able to ride all the way down to Dallas, but I was thinking about going to Dallas, catching Cruiseman for breakfast, and then maybe coming back up to Missouri and then maybe meet you guys, and maybe we could test out that I can't remember what the name of that was, but it was a cool looking ride. Had a bunch of names of, it was just a neat looking place.
Yeah.
And it starts basically in the southwesternmost corner of Missouri. We've rode a lot down there, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Dallas is what, 12 hours, I think,
I think total.
If you don't stop, yeah.
Yeah, why would you? 12 hours.
Right.
I mean,
simple ride, so.
if we meet for 6 o'clock breakfast, we just start at 6 o'clock at night. We should be there to eat.
Yeah, perfect.
Turn around and meet you guys in 12, well, it'll only be like 6 hours back to there.
Yeah, and I still want to get out and ride, west. I'd like to get in the Rocky Mountains and ride there, but there's only so much time in the summer, and we've already got some other plans in the works, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, I'm thinking that's probably not a 2025 ride, but we got to start planning them sometime and figure out stuff. I mean, I know that there's options, I'd like to explore in 2025 the shipping thing. Like, maybe not do the shipping of bikes this year, but I think we should dig into it more and see what it entails.
Yeah.
Because, man, would that be cool.
Well, we've talked about riding the Route 66,
right.
as much of it as we can find.
And I don't think you can, I shouldn't say you can't, but I mean, I'm guessing that's a 6-7 day ride one way.
Yeah.
So I think we've got to figure out a way to ship bikes somewhere, grab them, and come back, I would think.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. I'm dying to do that at some point.
We got to do it.
And I don't want to rush it. There's so many things along the way I want to see.
Yeah.
So, even if
Radiator Springs is one of them. Oh, wait.
if it takes more time, that would be fine. But
yeah.
It's one of those rides I've always
those are one of those ones that we really do need to kind of get everyone circled. I think we need to think about, maybe getting some ideas for 2026, 2027, because that's going to be harder to plan.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And someone's probably going to have to go out there and figure out this, receiving these bikes somehow. Yeah, that's got to, we need to definitely put that on the docket. That'd be a great episode, I think, of how do you do that?
Yeah, I have a cousin that lives in the Los Angeles area. I've got a friend that's in San Diego. I don't have anybody up in San Francisco that I can think of, but I feel like we could figure this out.
Yeah. Is it San Bernardino to Chicago? Is that what the official? Yeah, that's
and I don't know exactly where that's at. I'm
sorry.
I didn't
well,
plan ahead
and then
for
it's
this.
tricky, right? Because then if you're out there, it's like, then there's the PC one, Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah.
So then do you do that then? That's 2 days, 3 days. Now you're talking 10 days. It's so hard, because it's I don't want to stop. So
many places I want to ride. Yeah.
And then the other thing, and we talked about this, I think, on the last episode, but it's really fun to do the no chains on some of these tours.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah, that was from John a few episodes interview back on the YouTube channel. But yeah, I think we should really try that hard as we're doing this. Is no chains.
And explain what no chains is.
You go ahead.
Well,
yeah.
No chains means no chain restaurants, no chain hotels.
Right.
So everything you do has to be independently owned.
I like
whether it's a restaurant or a hotel. No chains. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's really cool about some of the no chain hotels that we've stayed in is it's kind of a hoot.
It is. It really is.
You
meet some great people. Some of these people that run these hotels are just happy to have you there.
Unique individuals.
Yeah. Unique. Yeah.
So I don't know, we should definitely, we have to do the no chain Route 66 when we do it. And that's going to be hard.
It's going to be very hard.
I think, but we should really try hard because it's such an iconic thing to do. So. Well, yeah, so that's our goals. So we have to work out the maps and work out the calendars.
Yeah.
And see what we can do.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, it was a great year.
2024.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
If you liked the podcast today, please like and subscribe and sign up for our BMR Rider Alerts. It's how we can keep you in the loop, and we promise no spam.
Keep the spirit of adventure alive, and remember, bikes, friends, and endless roads, the stories ride forever. Take care.